Good day. We are living in interesting times. War looms everywhere, especially in the Middle East. And over the past 2 days, that war has been escalating. A few days ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion. And through that operation, it took out some of the nuclear enrichment facilities in Iran and also killed some members of the Iranian military. It is also expected that Israel will continue on that operation. They have stated it that they will continue and that they are. So far, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is even calling for regime change and is telling the Iranian public to rise up against their leaders. On the other hand, Iran has launched a virulent barrage of missiles against Israel, the principal city being Tel Aviv. Iran says it was going after military targets, and we have images of ballistic missiles and hypersonic missiles striking through Israel's famed iron dome shield. They couldn't stop a lot of the missiles. Iran, the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khomeini, calls it Operation Severe Punishment. So we are now moving up an escalatory ladder. Unfortunately, the world and the Middle East is on edge. Everybody now is worried that this war will escalate, and it is even thought that it may go nuclear. But at the heart of it, a principal player in this war, in this crisis, President Donald Trump of America, has thrown his heart completely behind the Israelis. He has stated today that he will defend Israel and he will also defend American interests in the Middle East. Welcome to my program. My name is Ebimo Amungo, and this is Ebimo Amungo's perspective on global affairs. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. And if you go through this program today and you have comments regarding what I'm going to discuss, please leave it in the comment section. The ongoing exchange between Israel and Iran is blowing into full-blown war. We really don't know where it's going to. We are on uncharted territory, but a strike against Iran has been long in coming. American neocons, a lot of people who support Israel and the Israeli lobby in America have called for this strike on Iran. Purportedly, Iran is developing nuclear weapons that they will use against Israel. But Iran has stated that they don't have any need for nuclear weapons. In fact, there's a fatwa by the supreme leader that says that they will never go for nuclear weapons. But that is not enough for the Israelis because Iran says that they would have a civilian nuclear program, and for that reason, they have some capacity to enrich uranium. So that capacity to enrich uranium has always been at the crux of it. And at this point in time, it is thought and said that they have already enriched uranium to the point of 60% enrichment, which is close to them having weapons-grade enrichment of uranium. But when you look at the fact that America has had a full, complete support for Israel, something comes to mind. America is embroiled in a conflict now that they have their hands full with, and that's the Ukrainian conflict. And you will think that with this current escalation in the Middle East, the Ukrainians will be really worried. Already, Trump has said that he is throwing his weight behind Israel. And by his actions recently, he has stepped away from supporting Ukraine. This will be giving the Ukrainian military and the Ukrainian leadership a lot of worry at a time that they are on the back foot and the Russians are escalated and the Russians are really giving it to the Ukrainians because of the operations they launched recently that took out bombers in the Russian strategic bomber triad fleet. So we are at a situation where Ukraine now will be looking at all that is going on. I think Zelensky will be shaking his head and feeling really worried. This is the second time that America has been diverted away from the events in the Ukraine war. The first was when October 7th, when the Hamas attacked Israel and the war escalated, and America had to divert resources into supporting um, Israel. That diversion of resources broke away the full and total complete focus and support that Ukraine used to enjoy for almost 2 years. Now again, a new president has come, and that president is not only just reiterating the support he has for Israel, it's actually limiting the support he has for Ukraine. This should get the Ukrainians really worried. Those people who support Ukraine are still within the Congress, they're still within the American political class, but no doubt about it, they also will be caught up in this situation where their support for Israel is way, way, way above that the support for Ukraine. And at a time that Iran is retaliating, they have shown a capacity to retaliate. We really don't know where this is going to end because from what we have found out, the Israelis had an operation within Iran that shows that they have really broken into the leadership through intelligence, the leadership of the Iranians. So we really don't know if going forward we may be seeing decapitation strikes against the leadership of Iran, and we don't know where this is going to pan out. But wherever it pans out, we know that America will be on the side of Israel. In fact, as the missiles were being raining down on Tel Aviv, it is said that the American armed forces, the Americans tried to help the Israelis bring down some of the missiles that were incoming, and they will even do more. Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, cried out loud recently that 20,000 rounds of anti-drone missiles had been sent to the Middle East. He didn't say that it was to Israel, but he said to the Middle East. But now we know that it was to Israel. We really don't know where this is going to lead to, but what we know for certain is that Donald Trump has stepped up his support for Ukraine. And the reason is simple. He has been playing double. He has tried to be a peacemaker between Iran. He has given them the option of diplomacy and a pathway to peace. But even in that, he has said that Israel has a right to defend itself. So he has thrown his full support behind it. In a social media, in a post that he released, he said it very clearly that he is in support of what is going on. He has warned the Iranians for long to choose the option of peace, not to escalate and not to do any other thing, not to do their enrichments. They should take the deal that America had given to them. But the Iranians refused, and they were still in having these rounds of diplomatic negotiations when this has happened. After the event, Trump said, I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the stronger words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. Anyway, he obviously has said that he will support Ukraine. He said this he has said this over many interviews um, in American media that he will support Israel. He will support Israel in this, and he's expected to. He's expected to support Israel because war with Iran is one that is quite a big chunk of a heavy load for Israel to carry. Israel can do these preemptive strikes and decapitation strikes, but they just can't sustain it for too long, especially at a time when they've been fighting two wars. And America has done all to support Israel. They have emptied their war chest, they have emptied their armory, and they've given a lot of their armory to Ukraine and to Israel. And in the recent events that has happened, we have now come to see how strained America has been in this effort. Because recently, America started a trade war with the world. Every country had their own share of America's so-called reciprocal tariffs. But with China, they had a different problem when China raised up the ante and had a bigger stake. And when Trump tried to press China further, China took a very decisive action in blocking exports of rare earth metals and magnets to America. To show that that was a very effective and deadly decision on the part of the Chinese, America instantly, Donald Trump sent two of his, um, how will I put them, his main trade hawks. Howard Lutnick is Commerce Secretary and Scott Bessent is Treasury Secretary to go and meet with the Chinese recently. And the whole essence is that they should open up access to the rare earth metal and magnets. This is very important because at a time like this, when they are close to war, America needs rare earth metals for their production of armament, especially antimony and even some other rare metal that they use in producing their F-16s, their F-35s, and all the cutting edge armaments that give America an edge globally. So China has come to see the vulnerability, and America too has come to see the vulnerability at this time of not having access to rare earth, and that has given China a lot of leverage. And at a time like this, Trump, who doesn't like being told what to do and who tells every other person what to do, had to go running after the Chinese to make a deal. And he has said that they finally got to a deal, but we really don't know. So we don't know how this war how long this war will go. We don't know how long it will be sustained, but it seems that if a choice is to be made, Trump will definitely choose the Israelis and even the whole political class in America, because by far stronger than even the Ukrainian lobby is the Israeli lobby. The Israeli lobby is an infrastructure of the political class in America. They are by far the strongest lobby by miles. No other lobby comes close to them. And they have power and influence in the American political system, especially as regards the Middle East. And they completely support this war. The war with Ukraine is one they support, but the war with Iran, between Iran and Israel, is one that they will throw their whole weight. So for America, there's a crisis. They can't be on two war fronts, and that's why the choice is a hard one. It's not such a it's not a hard one for Trump to make. The choice is to be with Israel if they're going to have a war that will escalate with Iran. And that simply means Ukraine is going to be in the back burners. This event happening in the Middle East is not a good event, not a good time for Ukraine at all. Zelensky will be watching it. We've not heard anything from him yet. He hasn't said anything. He's usually putting out statement. He has a video show every night, but we have not seen him because he knows how calamitous this escalation is to his war efforts. And it's not at a time like this now. Even the European leaders have all come and thrown their weight behind Israel. France, that have been criticizing Israel recently over events in Gaza, has thrown their weight. In their own reckoning, Iran is the guilty party, even though Iran was the one that was attacked first in Operation Rising Lion. So we are seeing the stepping away, and there's a lot of political confusion going on now in Europe as to how this is going to affect Ukraine. But if it is in America and if it is under the Trump presidency, it's very certain. Ukraine is on their own. They've been abandoned. Trump has said it that in the 2026 big, beautiful bill, he has no provisions to make for Ukraine. So probably everything will be for the American military and the large continuous shipment of armament to the Israeli military. While everything is going on, let's pray for peace. I try to, peace is always better. Yesterday I made a video where I said Israel has put the Middle East to the sword, and the Middle East has been striving for development. If you look at the countries there, if you look at Bahrain, if you look at Qatar, if you look at Kuwait and all these countries there, they've made strong efforts to stay on the side of peace and development. Their countries are very forward-looking now in many, many ways. But when conflict, one as big as that can become a regional conflict, comes up to their doorstep, It is one that causes them worry. Let's pray for peace in the world. And let's hope that this event going on in the Middle East between Iran and Iraq, that reason will prevail. But at this point, it doesn't seem to be so. Americans and the neocons and the deep state have wanted a war with Iran since, and finally they've got their war. And Iran and President Donald Trump, even though he put himself forward as a peace president, the one who will stop wars, the one who is going to get the Nobel Prize of Peace, he has thrown his heart fully behind the Israelis and his supporter for everything that and he says, if America is harmed or touched, they will escalate, and the full weight of America will also be brought to bear on Israel. We just might be at the early stages of World War III. This is just how World War I started, quietly, incipiently, without so much noise. But in this big bang that the Israelis have made, it is an earthquake that we just hope will not draw in the Russians and draw in the Chinese and draw in other regional players. Let's continue to pray for peace, and as we watch the events unfolding in the Middle East. If you have any comments about today's program, please put it down, put it in the comment section. If you like or if you have an opinion, or if you feel that my message was one that you should be shared, please subscribe and share, help the growth of this channel. Thank you, and have a good day. Until the next video.